Morning, folks. I'm going to do a review, a semi-in-depth review of the Big Cat e-bikes. Bought my wife the Beach Cruiser, and I bought the Fat Cat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, what led me to buying e-bikes, reasoning behind why I went with the Big Cat, and I'll cover some of the things about the bikes that'll hopefully help you decide on, whether to go with this particular brand or, any other brand, depending on what you do. But first thing I got to do is I got to get the bikes out of the garage and get them set up, and also to get something on. It's a little cool here in Maine this morning, so we're finally into the fall weather. So I'll be with you in just a moment.
There is a young cowboy who lives on the range. His horse and his cattle are his only companions. He works in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyons, waiting for summer, his pastures to change. And as the moon rises, he sits by his fire, thinking about women and glasses of beer, and closing his eyes as the dogies retire. He sings out a song which is soft but it's clear, as if maybe someone could hear. Good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams?
Okay, so it was about a year ago. My wife and I went over to New Hampshire, and we went camping over there, and over on the western side of New Hampshire, there's a rail trail called the Ammonoosuc Rail Trail, and we went for a hike, and probably covered about maybe a mile and a half of the Ammonoosuc Rail Trail. And we came home, and over the winter, over last winter there, I got thinking, it's like, how could we cover the these rail trails, do some exploring, and cover more ground, and not really have the noise of say buying four-wheeler or using a four-wheeler or the expense of a four-wheeler. So what I got thinking is like, maybe I'll look at investing in some bicycles, and of course I got thinking, it's like, my wife and I really haven't been on bicycles in 30 years, or at least my wife hasn't. I did some bicycling with the kids, and a while back when they were young, but they're grown up and out of the house and all that kind of stuff. So I got researching, and I come across the e-bikes, which I never even thought of. It never even dawned on me that they even had e-bikes. So so I did some research, and as far as taking bicycles and adding the components to make them e-bikes, and I get thinking, it's like, well, the amount of money that I'd spend on doing that, I might as well take a look and see if they have some reasonably priced ones, because with all the different brands out there, and price ranging from anywhere from $900 to $15,000. A lot of nice brands, a lot of great designs, all that kind of thing. So what I got thinking was, with what we're going to do, I mean, we're not interested in extreme downhill mountain biking type of thing, all that kind of stuff. So just pretty much easy going, relaxing, enjoying the wilderness, kind of rides and, you know, do some picnicking and see some wildlife, you know, take photographs, all that kind of thing. And of course, I didn't realize too that they got multiple rail trails that, you know, they're setting up all over the place, you know, here in Maine as well as, you know, New Hampshire, all across the nation, actually taking these old railroad beds and turning them into nice nature trails. So what I ended up doing was, you know, I come across this site that called Big Cat, and you know, reasonably priced, you know, in my opinion, and for, you know, for what we wanted to do, it looked like, you know, this would be the way to go. So, you know, I started reading the reviews on them and see what they were, you know, how positive they were, and there wasn't a lot at the time as far as actual videos and all that kind of thing. So, anyways, as you can see here, what I ended up investing in is I ended up investing in the beach cruiser for my wife, and haven't done really any kind of changes to it, other than I did end up actually putting a Springer style seat on it. The seats that come with it are, you know, they're padded pretty well. They give you, you know, pretty comfortable ride. But if it's bumpy, you know, it where there's no suspension on the Big Cat bikes, the Springer seat does help. And you know, her bike is, you know, pretty much the rest of it's pretty much stock. I did add a little carry bag there so she could carry some, you know, items in the, you know, a jacket and that kind of thing in the back. As you can see, you know, it's got the Shimano derailleur, which seems to be working pretty, you know, real well. It's got a 500 watt hub motor, and the 48 volt battery, and pretty much what we're finding is the level assist that you have with this bike is you got level assist 1 through 9, and what we're finding is in level assist 1, you know, pretty much it drives you probably at about 7.2 miles an hour. So you can pretty much vary how much exercise you want to get. And what I'm doing right now is I'm putting the key in and turning the key on, so I can show you actually how you turn the display on. You put your finger right here on these. You got the minus and the plus, which is, you know, set your parameters, but you hold this little button right here and it'll turn the screen on, and as you can see, you know, you press the plus button and it goes up 2, 3, 4, 5, right up to 9. And what I'm finding is you go from, say, level assist 1, say, to 2, and probably about a 3 mile an hour increments. 2, what I calculated, it pushes you up to about probably 10. Yeah, about 10.3 miles an hour, and then so on and so forth, right up through to level assist 9. You do have to have it in at least a level assist 1 for the throttle to work, and then of course you have the on and off switch for either disable the throttle or have the throttle. And let me see, what else should I cover here? The fat tires. For what we're doing, the fat tires definitely make it much more comfortable ride, you know, on the rail trails, because you pretty much, you know, you're running on gravel, grass, you know, hard packed, you know, like kind of like a shale type of stuff, or even sometimes pavement occasionally, and so the fat tires, you know, are pretty much running in, I'm averaging about probably 10 psi, well, actually 7 psi, 5 to 7 psi in the tires, which makes it a, you know, pretty comfortable ride. You know, you do get some resistance from that, but most of the time on the trail, just riding along. You know, we're not speed demons, anything like that. So we're just enjoying the ride, enjoying the outdoors with these bikes. So far, I'm very pleased with them. They've got a seems to be a very robust frame, and her brakes on the Beach Cruiser so far seem to be a bit, what would you call it, better than the Fat Cat as far as stopping power, because these bikes are, you know, they're fairly heavy. I think they weigh in at about 62 pounds, you know, so you really do need some good braking. You can see here it's the Novella, the Novella brakes on hers, and so what I ended up actually doing with mine, as you can see, I've done quite a few mods to mine. You know, because I you know, put some saddlebags on it. That way I could carry things like being able to repair tires, and you know, if we should happen to get a flat on the trail, and you know, plus I also carry, you know, sometimes picnic lunch, and I carry what else? I carry you know, a first aid kit, you know, just in case. And so I probably end up actually. I probably end up adding probably right in the range of another 30 pounds, 30 to 40 pounds to the bike. But you know, it just gives me a little peace of mind, you know, out on the trail. Sometimes you're in areas where you're not even around any houses or anything like that for, you know, sometimes miles. So you know, I carry battery packs here for charging the phones, you know, because I added a little phone carrier there. I did end up changing my handlebars. Reason being is I can't really be bent over with the seat up at its proper height. I was really pretty much bent over. So what I ended up doing is I scavenged a set of handlebars off an old motocross bike or a BMX bike, and that helped me to sit up straight. I did end up changing the grips. The rubber grips were getting kind of grungy there, so I put the leather ones on to hopefully be a little more comfortable. I did end up changing the brake calipers on mine. I haven't quite got the chance to use them out. Maybe today I was going to go for a ride and I get a chance to use them out. I put the BB, what are they called? The BB7s from Avid, and they got a bigger brake shoe, so hopefully that'll give me a little bit better stopping power. On this big cat, Fat Cat, I mean, again, got the 500 watt hub motor. This one has the Tourney, Shimano Tourney derailleur. Seems to be working just fine. You know, everything shifts great. They're adjusted right. And let me see, what else can I cover on it? I did end up changing my seat as well. This is actually the second set of seats that I've tried on it. We haven't used them as of yet. I just put them on. The first set were a pretty inexpensive Springer type seat. I figured I'd try the Springer seats, and the padding wasn't really great on the first set that we tried, so hopefully these will work better. So I would say that you know, anybody that's looking for you know, pretty much you know, what do you call it, pretty level type riding, you know, these would definitely be the bikes to use. Like I say, they're a bit on the heavy side, so I wouldn't say that they're the type of bikes that you could do extreme mountain biking or hills with, you know, really steep. It takes a bit of effort if you start going up a hill. I mean, you got to definitely put in your effort. Even though the 500 watt hub motor does have, you know, quite a bit of oomph to it, with the 48 volt batteries, they do really well. You know, because the throttle, you can always override the level assist that you want to get you up. How would you say, semi moderate hill. plus the rail trails, I mean, they're pretty much flat. You get some grade to them, but it's not really a lot. So, like I say, so far we're really enjoying them. David at Big Cat was really helpful. They seem like really nice people. I promised him I'd do a video on this. I pretty much don't really think I need to go for a ride on it or anything like that. There's plenty of videos out there about riding e-bikes. I figured I'd just try to cover a bunch of things here. Pretty much standard Shimano shifters, a 7-speed derailleur on the back. It seems to be plenty for what we do. If I did try going up into level assist 9, and it pretty much puts full power to the bike, and I was probably motoring up to about 18 miles an hour in level assist 9, and then if I put a lot of effort into it in gear 7, I could get it up to about 20 miles an hour pretty easily. But boy, you're pedaling like a banshee at that speed. So, like I say, very robust frame. I think they're going to hold up well to what we're doing. There are other mods that you can do to them. You can actually get a front-end suspension type fork on it if you wanted to. Let me see, what else could I cover on it? The 48-volt batteries. What I'm calculating so far, as far as range, in level assist 1, if you're putting your effort into it, I've pretty much figured that you probably could push these bikes, I'm going to guess maybe, probably 45 to 50 miles. At least that's what I would guess at this point. I mean, because you'd have to be putting your effort into it. And just battery alone on using the throttle, I would say you could probably get, I'm going to say, 12 to 15 miles out of the battery, which is pretty good for the weight of these bikes. So, and plus your weight or whatever weight you're carrying. So, that's pretty reasonable, I would say. Because there's other ways to get more range out of it if you wanted to get fancy with towing a little trailer with a solar charger and all that kind of stuff. But like I say, what we end up doing is I load them in the truck and we go to the rail trails and we just enjoy the rail trails. We don't ride these on the road. Nowadays it's just getting, in my opinion, too dangerous to be out on the roads with bicycles with people, texting and on their cell phones and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, hopefully this review has helped you folks, and making a decision on what you want to do as far as possibly purchasing an e-bike. Like I say, and these. What I ended up spending on these were $1,600 a piece. That's a little over $3,000. Which is, I figure pretty reasonable for what you get. Definitely a lot of fun. We've had a good summer with them, and hopefully we'll have many more good summers with them. So, anyways, hopefully that helps you folks, and God bless, and have yourself everybody have a great Thanksgiving season, Merry Christmas, and God bless, and take care.